Today's episode of the BS Podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor, and the only fan-friendly app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music and Hamilton. Oh yeah, Hamilton's on there too. Other sites have the nasty habit of showing you lower prices, charging you huge fees at checkout. At SeatGeek, the price you see is always the price you pay. To start using SeatGeek, download the free SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by HBO, the home of Any Given Wednesday, my new show that starts on HBO on Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, June 22nd, right after the NBA Finals, which will hopefully be a good one. We should mention also the Ringer Podcast Network has grown. We have 4 new podcast feeds, including Keeping It 1600, that you can subscribe to. Chuck Todd was on this week. He was great. We also have The Watch, hosted by Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan. That has 2 podcasts this week, including Andy interviewed Colin Farrell. Oh, yeah. The Ringer NFL pod. Kevin Clark is on there right now. He interviewed Andrew Luck, who is a really interesting guy. And then we have the Ringer NBA pod, which I did a quick 15-minute podcast yesterday with Kevin Clark, who is the only Orlando Magic fan that I've ever met in my life, and might be the only Orlando Magic fan. But we talked about Scott Skiles' bizarre resignation. So that was only a 15-minute quick pod. But please subscribe to all those feeds. It's going great. We are killing it on iTunes thanks to you guys. So thank you. This is awesome. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Clear enough for you.
All right, it's Friday morning, West Coast time. The first writer from Any Given Wednesday that I've had on my show.
It's an honor.
Travon Free, how are you?
I'm good, man. I got up early. I haven't gotten up this early in a long time.
I know, it's good. Well, you're still getting adjusted for West Coast time. You're from here, though.
Yeah, back home, but I haven't seen anybody because it's so hard to work, move, readjust, and also want to go out after 7 o'clock.
And you have more shoes than anyone I've ever met, and you just had to figure out just where to put those in your place.
I did. I had to get a second bedroom.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm like.
How many shoes do you have now?
I'm like somewhere. I think I'm north of 200 now.
Gee, how many of the Jordans?
Probably like 150.
Oh my Lord! You got to invite. Look at Tate. Tate's getting excited over there.
I saw those are the 30s, right? I don't have any of those. The only
Tate's
pair of the 30s I actually
right
liked were the ones they wore in the Jordan high school game.
Yeah.
And yeah, those were amazing. But all the rest of them was like, why won't they make them like that? But
So my son visited the office yesterday, and you weren't even at your desk.
I think I was doing Hamilton.
Yeah, and you had an Alexander Hamilton bobblehead and a Stone Cold Steve Austin figure on the desk. He's like, "Who's this? I love this guy." And then finally,
collided.
He met you, and then as we were leaving, he goes, "I like that Travon guy. I could be friends with that guy." So you really hit the Hamilton and wrestling combo.
Yeah, I hope I can get him a little land action when he goes again. I think what's it, end of May?
The end of May, I think he's going to go. Let's talk NBA playoffs because
man.
So you played. I always like when people actually played basketball when they talk about basketball. Unlike myself, who only played through high school and then played intramurals and then kept playing recreationally, but you actually played.
Yeah, I had a lot of. I played with a lot of good players, so I feel like when I'm watching these guys, I actually played with some of the guys who are still in the league now, but like having had those experiences and watching them play, like. I have a good feel for what's going on, having never played in the NBA.
You played high school ball. You were on the same team as Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler. We played 2 years together.
Right, and then you played at Long Beach State.
Long Beach, yeah.
So you see things a tiny bit differently. Like, for instance, when Chris Paul broke his hand in the Clipper game, and then Blake went out, and we started having a discussion, and you made the point, which is you'd seen this happen a million times in basketball games where Blake just kind of checked out. Like he probably maybe could have kept playing, but after he saw the Chris Paul, he's like, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah, like you're the star player of the team. You just lost your star point guard, and your season's basically over. Why would you risk playing more games at that point if you're Blake Griffin?
Mad at the training staff.
Yeah, like
and you knew they tried to trade you.
Right. So like, fuck this team. Like I'm out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if it's. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's in his head? But if Chris Paul is still playing, I really don't think Blake Griffin. I think he's just gutting.
Oh,
through
absolutely. Because I feel like if Chris Paul doesn't go down at least Blake still feels like he has a chance. But it's like, if I lose my star point guard, no matter what their relationship is off the court, like if I don't have him, I don't see an incentive for me to like risk injury.
I kind of don't blame him.
I don't either. Like, I've seen guys
do it the same way.
I've seen guys do it all the time. Like, if your season's basically over, it's over. Like, I hurt my leg. Like, make me play.
Yeah, I'm done. So you're watching this series, OKC San Antonio.
I called it.
I
was the one person in the office.
You did.
In the writing staff.
There was an athleticism advantage, and OKC started controlling the paint a little, and all of a sudden you could kind of feel a shift. In Game 4, third quarter, I really felt like Durant was going to be out of OKC in like 5 quarters. It was so snippy, and they were so tense, and it just seemed like they were going to fall apart. And then it flipped, and now I'm like, man, they might be able to go toe to toe with the Warriors.
Well, I knew it was over for the Spurs when they still had the lead. Only because in Game 5, the Thunder were coming back, and Tim Duncan tried to lay the ball up. I think you remember this play.
Oh, the up and under.
Yeah, and I think he got 3 inches off the ground, and the ball rolled off the rim, and I was like, yeah, they're done. He's so done. And then Westbrook just took over. But we were talking about it last night. Like, I wouldn't necessarily count the Thunder out of this Warriors series. Like, I think they're going to Thunder very blowout prone. That was in Game 1. Like, they can be amazing or they can get blown out by 40. But if they come into the series with their head on straight, I think it'll be like probably the one of the best series we've seen in a long time, especially because you have Thunder, Warriors, you have potential Cavs, Heat, and then you have potential Cavs, Thunder, which is like a great
that'll be fun.
LeBron, Durant, and Westbrook, Kyrie, and then you have a rematch of last year, which a lot of people, like myself, don't necessarily give the Warriors credit for winning that championship, but I'd like to see any of those series.
There's a couple good things going on for the Thunder now. I mean, the reasons I didn't like them and the reasons I was so frustrated by them during the season, for one thing, they were just poorly coached, like even like very subtle stuff, like the fact that he would take Durant and Westbrook out at the same time. The internet had already decided this was a bad idea 5 years ago.
Right.
Like, you want to stagger it because you have 2 of the best 7 guys in the league. You have the chance to play one of the best 7 guys in the league at all times for 48 straight minutes. Why wouldn't you do that? And then just little subtle stuff like they had marginalized Ibaka.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Like, he didn't really have a good series until like the last maybe like 3 quarters or like the end of this last game, because he had gone like, I think he'd had like, if I remember the stat, it was like 19 points over the course of the series or something like that.
Right, and not a lot of rebounds.
Yeah, he just wasn't playing that great.
But you know this, though, like, when you're marginalized like that and you're basically go stand over here, but when we need you to rebound and block shots, you got to do that. Yeah, but we're not going to give you the ball and we're not going to stroke your ego in any way. You kind of check out like 25%.
Yeah, you spend all that time in your head just cursing out your teammates.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, well, like, if you could, this is what's going to happen. Fuck these guys. And then a rebound comes your way and just like, I might get it or maybe not. Like, you guys get it. Like, Westbrook seems to like.
It's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Like, I always try to put myself in the athlete's shoes. And it's like, if I'm Serge Ibaka, other than the fact that I might have the chance to make the finals and I make $50 million a year and I came from the Congo and this is like amazing, I'm living my dream. But just fundamentally, is this a fun team to play on if I'm Serge Ibaka? And the answer is no. You know, it's like all one-on-one stuff. And it's like, Serge, stand in the corner. Doesn't take advantage of what he does. So Donovan flips that in Game 4, puts in the Canner Adams lineup, and all of a sudden the Spurs look old.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Duncan was too old. Boban's too, Game 6, Boban's way too tall. West was too short and too old.
Adam was basically resting defending Duncan. Like, he didn't have to do anything.
Adam
was just
a
like,
beast.
Yeah, he was just like, I'll just play on offense. Like, I can stand here next to Tim Duncan. I'm big enough to just stand in front of him and keep him off the rim. And he was like great down there. He had a double-double last game.
And it became an old school bully ball series where they're just like, they're getting offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
they're getting second chance points.
I felt so bad for Tim Duncan, man. It was sad to watch that.
Yeah, I kind of wish. Yeah, I went to Game 7 Clips last year, which they almost won, and he was just heroic and awesome in that. That actually ended up being my last column at Grantland. Would have been such a great way for him to go out. But everybody, I think, always athletes, I think celebrities to some degree, like actors and singers, like they're always going to stay too long. And with athletes, it's usually 1 to 3 years too long.
Yeah. Like
So he was
Seinfeld
1
was
year
smart
too
enough to get
long.
out on time.
But he did have a couple moments in Game 6.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
a couple
Like
pick and rolls with Andre Miller.
for a
and things
second,
like
I
that.
was like, wait a minute. Like maybe like there's still some life left in Tim Duncan, but I think that was just him emptying the tank. So when he goes out, like,
I loved
he's just
it.
like,
They played him the whole fourth quarter.
Right.
That was it. I mean, I know he's going to retire. Just so from how that fourth quarter went, it was clear that they were like, all right, ride it out, Timmy.
It was funny how like everybody was saying retire, retire, and then at the end of the game, the announcers immediately got nostalgic and was like, maybe he shouldn't retire. Like I feel like he's still got a little like those are the people who are
get
like
out of there.
ruining people's bodies and lives, like telling you should do something just because they don't want to see you leave. Like let the guy go, man.
Well, plus he played 20 years. He was pretty much healthy the entire time.
Yeah.
But then you have all those postseason miles. And that's where it's like those playoff games like that. Like, when you play a game like Westbrook played yesterday,
Yeah.
that counts like a playoff game and a half. He's playing warp speed for
Right.
4 quarters, and it's almost like a football running back. Like that's like a 39 carry game for a running back.
He's gonna be one of those guys that when he starts to hit the decline, you're gonna see it so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because he plays so fast, and so like his first step when he's like taking guys off the dribble, like he goes past the basket before he lays
Right.
the ball in. Like he did it 2 times in a row last game. Where you're just like, how fucking fast is this dude? Or like he's just pumping 100 at 100 the whole time, and like I don't know how sustainable that is. How old is he? 27, 28?
27, 28. I would
Like-
say he's at the peak of his athletic powers right now.
Yeah, like you enjoy these next. Like that's another reason why you got to like make the right decision in terms of staying in OKC or going to a team where you have a really good chance to win a championship. Because like weirdly, they're in the position now to kind of win a championship, which
Right.
doesn't seem right because everybody had them losing against San Antonio.
Well, that 55-win season they had is really embarrassing. They had 2 of the best 7 guys in the league. Adams is good.
Yeah.
Cantor is a really nice guy to have off the bench. Waiters is skilled. Roberson is a really good defender. Ibaka is a guy that they could probably trade this summer for a top 5 pick if they wanted. Like, it's not like this was a bad team. When you think the Spurs won 67
Right.
and OKC won 55, and I know OKC had a couple things, like Monty Williams, his wife had that tragic thing. I think that
Right.
derailed them a
Yeah.
tiny bit. New coach, but still, like 55 wins that's why I didn't vote for Durant and Westbrook for first team All-NBA.
I feel like when you have a great season, like when you get into series, it's such a different mindset. It's such a different way of playing the game that people think like, oh, naturally this team's going to lose to this team because the Spurs had like a borderline the same season as the Warriors almost, plus or minus a few games.
And then the 32-point blowout.
Yeah.
In game 1.
And you're just like, oh, of course the Spurs are going to do this. This is how they played in the season. And then they get, would they lose 4 in a row or no, they won.
They lost 4 or 5, but they really could have lost all of them.
Yeah, like had that blowout gone differently, they could have gotten swept.
The Spurs were, I think, by the time game time happened, 9-point favorites in game 2. That's when it's that high for a must-win game for the other team.
Right.
But I mean, I swear in that third quarter, if you're like bet your life on what's going to happen, I would have said OKC's going to self-combust. They're going to lose in game 5 and Durant's going to leave. And you could feel it. And it really felt like LeBron in 2010 during that Boston series when it started to shift.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you could feel the history as the game's going on, like, oh, holy shit. And it just didn't happen. Like, I give him a lot of credit, man, because I feel like that team was falling apart.
Right.
And he just wouldn't let it happen in that fourth quarter. Like, that was one of the best quarters I've ever seen him play. You know, he just would not let them lose.
It's something about when Westbrook takes over a game, like
That's scary.
It's almost, it makes me wonder about his relationship with Durant because it almost feels like he starts out going, all right, let's do this together.
Yeah.
And the first time Durant fucks up, he goes, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll just I got this.
this.
Yeah, like it's like the inverse of when Durant defended him against that comment by Mark Cuban at the press conference. But like on the court, it feels like Durant's or Russell's like the dude. He's like leading that group. Whereas like publicly though, it feels like Kevin Durant's the star of that team.
Yeah.
So I kind of get why Cuban would even say something like that, because like the advertisement, the shoes, like everything, like Kevin Durant's a star, but on the court, like it's all Westbrook.
Well, partly it's almost like that AAU mentality of the guy who has the ball. It just seems like he's more important. I think the biggest difference with them, and I was rooting for San Antonio because Sal and I had this 10-1 bet on San Antonio to win the finals from last early July. So I was rooting for them, but I didn't ultimately care because I think OKC Golden State's fantastic. But when Durant shoots, I never want him to shoot. When you're rooting against OKC, you're like, oh no, don't let him. And when Westbrook was shooting, I was like, let him shoot.
And he was
Westbrook's taking a three. Great. Yeah, please take that. But he just started making them.
He was nailing it.
He made terrible shots in that series.
How great was that three? I feel like even he kind of knew that three in the corner shouldn't have gone in when he just stood there and
he
stared.
Never makes those. I said this before on the pod. He's one of the 4 worst 3-point shooters in the history of the NBA for anyone who's taken over 1,500 shots.
But he makes them when they matter.
He made 2 huge 30-footers.
He made them when they matter.
Yeah, Wade's like that too. Wade was a terrible 3-point shooter who makes big 3-pointers for some reason.
Do you feel like that?
Marcus Smart's another one. I'm going to lump Marcus Smart in there for no reason at all.
But in terms of talking about the Spurs, I always thought the lockout championship was kind of not a real championship. How do you feel about that?
That's a fake championship.
I
wrote that. It was such a bad season because I was living in Boston and my dad never wanted to go because that was one of the Rick Pitino years. So I went to a lot of those games. All those dudes were out of shape.
Yeah,
they thought the season was going to get canceled, and then at the last second, all of a sudden they were playing, and it was just fat, out of shape NBA players. And San Antonio and Indiana and Utah, I think, were the 3 teams that had been practicing during the lockout.
Right.
And they all came in great shape and kind of kicked ass. But yeah, that wasn't a great team.
Yeah, they were going over Tim Duncan's resume last night and showing all the pictures of him and Pop together and the 5 championships. I'm like, come on, 4 1/4 maybe.
Yeah, that's an asterisk.
I wouldn't say 5.
And they won the 03 one, which was just, if you just look at the talent in the league, there was this weird dip in basically.
That's when they beat the Cavs, right?
Yeah, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. Just the guys from the previous decade who were supposed to be at their peaks, they just weren't there. And it was a really weak league. That 03 team Duncan was on, it's one of the worst supporting casts anyone's won the title with. It was Tony Parker as a baby, Manu as a baby, washed up David Robinson.
Yeah.
Captain Jack was probably the second best guy on that team, and they just rolled through, and they were awesome. I think that the one missed title that I think they would have won and probably should have won was 06 when Dallas got by them. The game 7 at home. They're up 3 with 25 seconds left, and Manu goes to the line, gets fouled, goes to overtime.
I thought
they had the best team that year.
I think they should have beat Miami though. I feel like that was a lost championship when Ray Allen hit the shot.
Oh, no question. But I don't know if they win the next year if they win in 13. That's why I feel like they won 1.
Yeah.
And it evened out. I mean, I've never seen anyone. Usually, the right team wins the series.
That was
I would say 9 out of 100 times the right team wins the series. That was one of the few times the wrong team won the series.
Yeah, I was rooting. That was when I was rooting hard against Miami. I mean, I never rooted for Miami. I was happy when LeBron went back to Cleveland.
Yeah,
but I wanted them to lose every championship
because you care about the Cleveland economy.
No, not so much. More so because I liked LeBron as an individual. I hated the. You hated him teaming up with Wade. Yeah, I hated all of that. I hated the decision. I hated that super team shit. It was just come on, man. Just stay in Cleveland and win one for your team. If that's your team. And
I think that thing was. I think they decided that 2 years earlier.
But I admire his I don't want to think of him as a ring chaser, but I feel like if they don't win in Cleveland, he'll probably leave again. I'm pretty sure.
Do you admire his head painting?
His what?
The painted hairline. On
Oh
his head?
God, the hairline. That thing moves more than the San Andreas fault line. Like if you like 1 minute it's like perfect, and the next minute it's shaped like a perfect C, and then the next minute it's like a kind of like a Nike check. Like I don't know what is going
Just
on
shave
with
that thing, LeBron.
Like I don't think he's ready to do it yet. Like, but at least it wasn't bad as Bruiser though. Like LeBron has to paint
Bruiser
the
went
corners.
cheap. Yeah.
Bruiser had to paint his entire head. Which is like, and Doc Rivers does it too. Like he sweats during the game, and you see it start to drip out of his head, and you're like, "Come on, guys! Like people are gonna start thinking black people melt. Like yeah, like fix this shit. Like you guys have money. Like get it done."
How would you psychoanalyze LeBron, just from what you've seen? If he was your teammate, and you had to play with him day in and day out, how would you handle him as a human being? I
think LeBron's the kind of guy that, if you want to be in his world, if you want to be on his side, you have to do what LeBron wants you to do. I feel like LeBron will be your best friend as long as you do what he wants you to do. So if you I feel like he runs his teams. So if you're going to be his teammate, you be the teammate he wants you to be, or like somehow you get traded somehow.
Right.
But he seemed like he'd be the coolest dude to you, or the nicest dude to you, as long as you're either someone he views as his equal. If you're not someone he views as his equal, then you become one of those guys who you have to live in his world the way he wants you to live. If you're like a Wade or a Carmelo, those guys who he like really respects, I think those are the guys who can like really be real with LeBron, or like maybe like even criticize or give him shit. But he seems like the kind of guy, and having played with similar guys, where like if you're not on board, then you won't have a good time. You just won't.
I think we forget how, one, he grew up, and then two, just how famous he was when he was 17.
Yeah, like
the guy had a Hummer when he was 17. He had no money and he had a Hummer.
He was on the cover of Slam a couple times. Like
he was on ESPN. His high school. Imagine what would have been like for you if your high school games were on ESPN.
I mean, it's kind of almost crazy now that I think about it, that like we didn't have any, because like we played against Eddie Curry.
Skinny Eddie Curry?
Yeah, right. We played against Skinny Eddie Curry. We played against DeJuan Wagner. We played against a lot of big high school guys at the time, and like we had Chandler. So like we were like touring the country playing basketball like a college team, and we were 15. So like that was crazy.
And you were 15 and not like the wealthiest group of kids, I'm guessing,
God,
right?
No, not even close.
So
like,
where are you staying
Compton.
in hotels and stuff?
Like they were putting us up. Nike was paying for everything.
That's amazing. It's just so corrupt.
Yeah, we had a Nike contract. We would get the Jordans like weeks before they came out. So you had no money, but you're wearing like state of the art Jordans. Oh God, like the Space Jam Jordan 11s, my favorite Jordans, had come out my sophomore year, and we had those like long before people got, like we got everything. We had like the best clothes, the best shoes, the best uniforms, and even when we played in the La Schwab Invitational in Oregon, we practiced at Nike headquarters, and they gave us, that was when the Kevin Garnett shoes had come out.
Yeah.
We had gotten like 3 pair of those in 3 different colors. Our coaches raided the Nike employee store.
Oh my God.
It was pretty amazing.
And there's probably like 200 teams like this.
Oh, absolutely.
That have a deal
Easily.
like this.
Easily.
And what kind of car did Tyson Chandler drive as a senior?
He had an Escalade, the first Escalade when they first came out, and everybody had an Escalade or wanted an Escalade.
And where did Tyson Chandler live?
It's a good question, because we were at school in Compton, and
he's driving an Escalade.
Oh yeah, I rode in it with him once. I don't know. I forget where we were going. I think we were going. It was some team thing, and we all had to like go and like carpool it, and I ended up riding with him in his Escalade.
So you won the lottery on that one.
Yeah, I won the Tyson Chandler Escalade lottery. But yeah, like it was he knew. It was interesting to be around a guy who knew he was going to the league, to see just how the behavior of those kind of guys. And like you get treated like a king everywhere you go. Like everyone knows like you're the golden boy. He was so thin. Like
right. He was a rail.
Like, he was so thin. I was like actually kind of like bigger, a little stronger than him at the time. And then I remember when he got drafted, before their season started in Chicago, him, Eddie Curry, and Jason Williams had come to our practice, and they like practiced with us. And he'd put on maybe like 20 pounds of muscle, and shooting. He was like, he had an outside shot. Like, so much had changed in like that, like 6 or 7 months between leaving high school, getting drafted, and starting the NBA season.
Hold on, we got to say hi to our friends at 5-4 Club. You might be busy like me. You're busy. You're helping us launch a show here. Yeah. If you're like me, you don't have time to shop. You don't have time to shop, whether it's closed for the office, the club, your daughter's 2-day soccer tournament this weekend, a dinner event. Doesn't matter. You just don't have the time. Or you might just be lazy as hell. Either way, the 5-4 Club has you covered, and they just sent me some awesome clothes that I've been wearing because, again, I'm too lazy to shop. They will provide you styling advice, recommendations. They'll make you a styling profile. They'll deliver clothes to your door every month. The profiles are classic, casual, forward, or mix. Free shipping, direct delivery to your doorstep. Clothes come every month or so, and it's only $60 a month. Go to 54club.com. Use promo code BS at sign up and get 50% off your first package. That's $120 worth of clothing for $30 for your first month's package. I highly recommend 5-4 Club. I like the clothes. All right, back to basketball. So Russell Westbrook, who is now the most fascinating person in the playoffs somehow, even though Steph Curry is in it, he's the best player in 20 years. Oh, no, he's not the best player. He's the most beloved player in 20 years. I think LeBron's the best player in 20 years.
Yeah, they love, but
Steph has the highest approval rating of any player in 20 years. Yeah. Everyone just loves Steph.
He's too clean. Like I'm waiting for that skeleton to come out of the closet. Oh, no. Man. Like I just don't believe in it. Like I've seen it happen. You've just been tainted. Yeah, I've seen it happen too many times. Where like Tiger Woods is like a good example of just like, you have these crystal clean image. Michael Jordan had that same thing where you're just like, you're so nice and you're so good at what you do, and like you haven't really had any trouble. There was
always whispers. Right. See, Steph came in. We did a podcast. Him and David Lee came into the Grantland podcast studio in like 2012, and he just seemed like one of like he easily could just started working at Grantland. He just seemed like a completely normal, 100%, almost normal to the point that when he started to become famous, I started wondering, like, this could be weird for him.
Yeah, I want it to not be true. I want it to never happen for Steph because I think he's great. But I just, like, I feel like something's there. Like, I remember when a couple of days ago, when he accidentally tweeted that porn account.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was the thing. I was like, did he, like, accidentally, like, not direct message some kind of porn thing? And he's a porn addict? Like, what is it for Steph Curry? Like, what's the thing? Like, he's so picture perfect, or it's like I feel like this world has jaded me in a way where I don't believe in it anymore.
So how would you have you never met Westbrook?
No.
What's your read on Westbrook? Because the most interesting thing about Westbrook to me is he fits this profile of guys that we've had in the league who are great players, who are force of nature guys, who the best situation for them personally, they are convinced is the best situation for their team. And just, I don't want to say irrational confidence, but overwhelming confidence, alpha dog, I'm the guy. And usually the teammates don't like the guy that much. And with him, they love him. Like when he does well, the whole team feeds off it. And I don't know whether they have Stockholm syndrome or whether they genuinely love him.
I think if they actually, when they're not playing with him anymore, they'll probably realize how much they didn't like him. Like, I think that's what's gonna, because like when you're in it, you have to, you spend so much time with these guys, and you either can be the guy who's openly adverse to that guy, who's just like, I don't really fucking like you. Like in college, you don't have a choice. I got to play with you. In the NBA, they'll trade you. Like they'll get rid of you. But like he seems like the kind of guy who I would probably, if I was on his team, if we weren't real friends, like really friends, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. I just wouldn't like it.
Supposedly he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, like if that's what I mean. Like if he's a good, cool dude.
I mean, he's supposedly a little weird too. Like he has like this whole weird loves fashion.
I love the way he's like changed. I mean, the weird like in a good way,
like just quirky.
Yeah,
and
I like the little dance thing they do. They like he's his own person 110% of the time. And I thought like they were going to get into a fight when like Villanueva walks through their little like thing, because I don't know where his temperament is on those things. I've never seen him really get into any on the court fights. He seemed like the kind of dude who would get into fights all the time because his energy's always at 100. But he kind of just like does his thing. Like I don't know if you ever remember, if you ever seen that clip where they call a timeout. Westbrook's walking to the bench, and like one of the guys on the bench is high-fiving everyone as they walk to the bench, and he misses Westbrook, and Westbrook he turns around and stares through his face like, you're not gonna slap my hand. He like comes back and like those kind of things make me wonder like what is going on like in terms of that relationship where it's like, oh shit, I didn't high-five Russell, like I got to like.
I think he's been good for Durant. I think Durant is a pretty soft-spoken guy.
Yeah, he balances them out pretty well.
Who had a really tough life, and you know when you saw him in Texas tonight, he wasn't like tough. Like even yesterday, there was this moment. David West set this pick.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, "Was that a flagrant or what?" But if you watch the replay, he does it, and Durant kind of goes back, and then he death stares him. David West is like top 7 guys you don't want to mess with
he looks
in the
like
NBA.
a monster.
But Durant's got a toughness to him that I don't feel like he had at Texas in the first couple years at OKC, and I think a lot of that comes from Westbrook. Like sometimes you need that guy to feed off of.
I feel like sometimes it could turn into a false confidence, or like I don't feel like Durant's the best guy to be fighting a guy, especially like David West, because he still ain't the biggest guy.
You know what else helps them though is Adams is like the guy you want.
Oh yeah.
Adams is like almost a horror movie villain where his expression never changes. He's just like the killer that he has an axe sticking out of his chest. He's just walking forward, still trying to get you.
Any dude with that mustache would do anything you want him to do.
Blank slate. He doesn't react.
Like, it's so amazing.
He's got 20 brothers and sisters or something. Yeah, that dude's
and they're all
badass.
like 6'5", like some crazy, like they have a starting 5 in their family.
He's this guy. He's the guy that if somebody just punched him in the face in the court, he would just not react. He would just
you
start
would look
walking.
you would look at your hand.
He was like, "Did I connect with that?
Did I hit a person?
What? My hand's broken." Adam's just looking at you like, "You punched me."
I thought he was going to punch that fan.
Yeah,
like when they grabbed his arm.
That was great. He did the silent rage killer death stare walk toward him a little bit. But I think it's a tough team. They're not going to be afraid of the Warriors.
No, I don't think so.
Their games that they played this year were really fucking exciting. You know, they were high scoring and it's just back and forth and the breathtaking pace.
But I wonder if that works against them though, like not being afraid. Like I feel like if you're not aware of what you should be afraid of, you can lose yourself in the game and you can like be completely blinded to the right strategy to actually win the game because you're so pumped up. You've lost 3 times to this team over the course of the season, and you just were the underdogs against the Spurs. You beat the Spurs. Now's your chance to go to the NBA Finals and possibly win a championship for like the second time. Yeah. And if you aren't smart about it, if you're too into the now and not looking at the wider scope of it, I think that can also hurt you by being too headstrong or too in this moment. You gotta like you have to know your enemy. You can't just be like, oh, of course we're gonna beat the Warriors because we got this full head of steam and we're figuring it out. We're firing together. Like people are coming along. You have to know their strength, so to speak, and not go in there thinking this is just your time.
So if I'm Golden State, a couple things worry me. One is that there's 4 great players in this series. Well, Klay's almost there. Is Klay a great player now? I feel like I'm mentally almost there with him.
I think I started realizing he was a great player, but Steph Curry's like fucking mega dome is so big that you don't realize he's a good player or a great player.
Klay's been incredible
because every time like the games where Steph wasn't playing, Klay was killing it. Like he's been like lockstep with like 3-point records they were trading records at one point. So like it's easy to forget just how good Klay Thompson is.
Well, and also the defense, like that. I thought he just took out Lillard in those last couple games in this series, and my frustration with Klay was that he would kind of come and go, which I think is the same problems Wiggins has, where you'd go to a game. Like I'd be in the stands and be like, is Klay? Oh, he's out there. Like you just forget he was out there for 8 minutes. And now he's learning to like he'll post up every once in a while.
Right.
He's just there all the time. So maybe there's 5 great players in the series, but Westbrook or Durant have the capability of being the best player in any game.
Sure.
And Golden State, it's just those two and LeBron are the only two that can go into a Golden State game, and Golden State might not have the best player in that particular game. You know what I mean?
And Golden State and I kind of think this is partially what makes Steph great. Like, their system really works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Steph Curry doesn't go to the Warriors if he's the Steph Curry we know today. Like, if he ends up on the Knicks or some other team when he's drafted, I feel like it changes his career in a way where he can be misused. Like, he works great in this Warrior system. With
Clay. It's like the totality of those two guys
with
together.
Clay, with Draymond, with Harrison. Like, it's almost like perfect for him to be there. And I don't know if at this point, if he should ever leave, like if this team somehow disbanded. Like,
Tate thinks he's going to Charlotte.
Charlotte, really?
Yeah. Tate's
2017. Three for them, 3 for us.
Tate's from
because his dad played
Tate's
for
from
Charlotte.
Carolina,
Yeah.
so I mean he's got some. But yeah, he thinks Steph wants to win 3 in a row, and then he goes to win 3 more in Charlotte.
Do you think they'll win this year?
I think they're going to win again.
You think so?
But there's a scenario where they don't get out of this series, and it starts with. Here's what worries. If I'm a Golden State fan, this is what would worry me. I need Bogut in this series.
Yeah.
I need like 25 to 27 really good Bogut minutes a game. And I don't know if I can rely on him physically. You know, like Adams is an issue.
Yeah, because
Adams is like Draymond cannot handle Steven Adams. He's not going to be able to keep him off the offensive boards.
Not at all.
And if you remember the game when Steph hit the 35-footer at that best game of the season, they got out rebounded by 30.
Yeah, especially
That's not 10. That's not like 30 is plus 30 is not an accident. Like they got
Right.
crushed on the boards, and that's a real problem. They're going to need Bogut, they're going to need Ezeli, and they're going to need to keep those guys off the boards.
I feel like no one in the NBA boxes out anymore or crashes the boards, but especially on a team like Golden State where they're so used to 3-point shooters that you get into the routine of if Steph or Clay or someone shoots the ball, you just get back.
Yeah,
and you don't even you don't even go to the boards because you think it's going in. So you end up losing
lose every rebound.
You start losing rebounds there just by having that mentality off the board. And then if you have a team that's really playing hard that night, you're probably going to get out rebounded by 30 that night, no matter how many shots you're hitting.
Well, just think about the math, right? Like the biggest advantage Golden State has is they hit 13 threes a game, right? Oklahoma City might hit 4 or 5 a game. So Golden State every game is going to be +8 with threes. But if Oklahoma City's getting 10 extra offensive rebounds a game, they're getting 10 extra possessions.
Yeah.
That evens out the threes, and that's why I think this can be a close series.
And it tires out Draymond, it tires out the guys.
And that's the other key point is Draymond. You're asking a lot from Draymond in this series because he's got Adams and he's got Kanter, and if Ibaka gets fully re-engaged,
oh my God,
those are 3 guys coming at the rim after every shot.
If they get Ibaka to turn on. And
I felt like yesterday, did you see? Like I felt like he was engaged yesterday.
Yeah, it started to click.
Yeah,
like it started to come back. Like especially now they got this new energy. I mean, if you get those 3 playing, it can be dangerous for the Warriors. But also, the Cavaliers have made at least 15 3-pointers in the last 4 games, or some crazy stat like that.
It's a barrage.
So, like if they keep that up,
well, that's another thing is you can't measure. You know, one team's going to be better than the other, but if somebody just starts making threes, it upsets the seesaw. Offensive rebounds and threes are the 2 things that can upset whoever's better than whoever.
That reminds me of when my senior year in college, we were in the tournament and we were a 12 seed playing a 5, and we were playing against Tennessee. And that year, we led the NCAA in points per game. We were at like averaging almost 90 points.
Who
a
was
game.
on this team? Anybody I know? Anybody I remember? No.
We had Aaron Nixon, who was like a fantastic player, amazing 3-point shooter. He might have hit like 5 buzzer beaters from like 30 feet that year.
Yeah.
But not anybody like who went pro or.
So you were frisky. Frisky kids from Long Beach, 12 seed.
We were.
How many? Do you remember what the line was for the game? I probably wagered on it.
I don't remember what it was. I
interrupted you. Go ahead.
We were averaging almost 90 points a game. We were shooting. We were like top, I think 2 or 3 in the country in 3-pointers. We were a fast up and down team.
Yeah.
And they come out and just barrage 3-pointers. Like they just couldn't miss. And it was one of those things where at halftime we were losing and we were shooting 45% from 3.
Wow.
And we were still losing. And it was one of those games where the other team, we both shoot well, but if somebody's just shooting so much better than you, there's nothing you can do about it.
That's what happened in Game 4 to San Antonio. Remember they had a 6-point lead. Foy made a 3. I think Canner made a 3. And then all of a sudden OKC just started making everything.
Yeah.
And they had this 14-minute stretch. They just made every shot they took.
Yeah, there's no defending.
You can't stop that.
You can't stop a made basket. Like we were trading threes with them, but for every 2 misses, they were making them. So like we're shooting 45%, which is an amazing number to be shooting at halftime. I think we took like 7 or 8 threes, and this dude, I don't remember this dude's name on their team.
Wayne Chisholm?
Yeah, well, I was guarding Chisholm, but they had a point guard.
Duke?
No, I don't remember his name. Light-skinned guy, really fucking good. He was 27 feet, boom, 25 feet, boom, just coming down, like bombing us. And we weren't playing bad. They were just playing so good it made us look like shit. And I feel like that's the kind of thing you get into with either the Warriors or like the Thunder have it in spurts. The Warriors do it all the time, and Cleveland has seemed to found it. Which is
I don't trust the Cleveland thing yet. I know the Cleveland fans think everyone's against them. I just think the East sucks.
It's a terrible conference.
The Celtics.
It's a weak conference.
Took Atlanta to 6 games. We had like 5 guys, and then Atlanta just, even though they're kind of in those games, they just couldn't close.
Right.
And it's no reflection on whether Cleveland's great or bad or whatever. It's just I don't have a feel for how good they are because, like, you look at OKC, right? You watched that game yesterday. They had like 7 guys that were competing 100%, like competing their asses off, like playoff guys.
Right.
Even Roberson. The Roberson thing kills me with him because I always see things how it's spelled or how. But even he was flying around. Like, he seemed like a playoff guy in that game.
Yeah.
Ibaka, Canner, Adams, these guys are playing at a really high level. And I just didn't see that from people in the East.
Yeah,
you watch Atlanta, it's like they got 4 guys playing hard.
Yeah.
And 5 guys kind of playing hard. I got to say hi to Blue Apron really quick. All week I've been eating Blue Apron because they sent us some Blue Apron. My wife has been cooking the Blue Apron stuff every night. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Stop wasting money on expensive takeout. Just sign up with Blue Apron. You should do this.
I had it in New York.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You just go home. But you don't have to get takeout. You don't have to do any of that stuff. It's less than $10 per meal. They will deliver you all the fresh ingredients you need for a delicious and healthy home-cooked meal. They have established partnerships with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. It can be delivered to 99% of the continental U.S. Here's some of the meals they have available in May. Crispy cotton cabbage slaw tacos with pepita pineapple and avocado salsa. Middle Eastern chicken and chickpea stew with pita croutons. I actually had this on Tuesday night, and it was delicious. It was like very little chicken tikka marsala-ish. Pan-seared pork chops with 2 cheese, mashed potatoes, and sauteed spinach. Again, sign up with Blue Apron right now at blueapron.com/BS, and you can get your first 2 meals for free. That's blueapron.com/BS. So, Durant, they'll have one game where he's the best guy on the court. He'll have 44 and they'll win. There will be the one Westbrook game like we had in Game 5 where he goes for 37, 11, and 9 with 7 turnovers, and he's just force of nature, and they win that one. Curry's going to win at least one by himself. The Curry-Clay, we hit 15 threes combined, that'll happen. So now I've just taken 4 games off the board, and now it's a best of 3. I think this goes 7.
I think it could too. I mean, if you
I really do.
I think best of 3 works out to like, what do you get out of Ibaka? What do you get out of Adam? What do you get out of Cantor versus what do you get out of Draymond? And how are you rebounding against these guys? Because the Thunder are just a bigger team. Yeah. And you can't win a championship without your inside play being tight. And also the Warriors didn't have to deal with this last year. Yeah.
They didn't have the bully ball team in the paint that just said, oh, you really going to play Draymond Green at center?
Right.
Now, the counter to that is their lineup of death at the end. When they spread the floor, they just make it impossible to keep somebody like Cantor out there.
Yeah, it does make it. Yeah, if they spread the floor, then you instantly lose the effect of having those big guys out there. So,
and that's why I'm worried I might be overreacting because San Antonio didn't have that lineup, and they tried Kawhi at the 4 a little bit, and they just were getting killed in the boards. And you would think it would have been Aldridge, Kawhi, Danny Green, and 2 guards,
right?
And they just didn't have it. They didn't have those 5 guys. Golden State has the 5 guys.
Who do you think wins game 1?
Probably Golden State, just because I think OKC, it should be such a different style. When you're going against a team that can't make any outside shots, and now all of a sudden you have a team that's going to go 15 for 30 in game 1.
Do you?
The one thing that I hate saying this because it sounds like a crutch. I think each game will depend on how they're refereed. Because you look at game 2 and game 4 of San Antonio OKC, and OKC was just bully ball. Every play was a foul, and they just weren't calling it. And the more they got away with, the more that wasn't called, and the more they were getting away with. And it just they controlled the game and the physicality of it. If they can do that against Golden State, that's great for them.
They won't let you do it to like Steph though, like Steph and those like Clay. Like I feel like they kind of protect those guys. But do you think?
But Waiters, Robertson, Westbrook, if Westbrook decides to play defense, which he didn't, he took the first 4 games off defensively in the Spurs series. But if they really are pushing him, nudging him, doing what Chris Paul does, chipping him, Adams is sticking his ass out, trying to knock him down, coming around the baseline, and they're just doing that the whole series, that's going to affect Steph.
What do you think?
Tate, you agree? Wouldn't you chip Steph all the time?
That's why Delvin was his best defender.
Yeah.
You want to put the fear of God in Curry that he's going to hurt his ankles, even though you're not like trying to maim him or anything. But you're just like, I'm knocking you, I'm pushing you, I might step on your foot. You better be careful. Like you're not running amok.
Yeah, if you get in Steph's head, because he gets hot headed. He has temperamental moments where he gets emotional and people push him and he pushes back. And I mean, sometimes that can work against you because he gets in the zone. And whereas like other people that would take them out of the game, for some reason, it makes him better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he does take it. I like that he gets a little alpha doggy when that stuff happens.
Yeah, like do you want to piss off Steph Curry? Because like how do you use that against him? Like pissing him off doesn't make him worse; it makes him better. But also, you want to be physical with him, and you want to like not let him have his way around the court. But
Chris Paul's the guy who has done it the best. I noticed yesterday, and I noticed this the last 3 games with San Antonio. Once OKC, the bully ball,
right,
and just at some point, somebody on San Antonio needed to just clothesline one of those guys going to the basket. Just take the flagrant. Dave, I was waiting for David West to do it.
I thought that was West was waiting to do.
This is why you're on the team. Just nail somebody just once, because the OKC guys were just going to the basket with impunity.
Yeah,
and they were just completely fearless. And OKC just they were never stopped. West, that's why you're on the team. Hit somebody. I'm not saying like hockey enforcer, but I mean, make somebody think twice when they're flying.
I mean, we get that note all the time from our coach. It's like make them pay when they drive the lane.
Did Westbrook even get nailed in that series?
I don't think so.
Golden State, Bogut is going to nail somebody. Azalea will nail somebody, and Draymond will absolutely nail somebody.
Draymond definitely. I give it a game and a half before Draymond does it.
So here's another thing OKC could do that I think would work. I would be talking to Draymond. I would have multiple guys. I want to get Draymond upset. I want to get in his head. I want to get him yelling. I want to get him out good. Get all alpha doggy.
Oh yeah.
I want him yapping. Good. Get that way, because I think he can get too carried away with that stuff.
Yeah, and then he becomes turnover prone. Like the moment you get into his head, he starts making terrible decisions.
Get a tech. Get a double tech both ways.
Yeah.
Adam should be trying to get him the whole series, trying to get him to take a swing at him. His goal should be, I want Draymond Green to throw a punch at me. Because it'll bounce off my head and Draymond Green will break his hand.
I'll just walk away like Frankenstein.
But you know what, though? I mean, we can talk about this all we want. Whoever has the best player in this series is going to win. Like, if Durant's the best player in the series, OKC's going to win.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the one thing is.
Sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out what the one thing is that OKC has to do to win the series. And I think you're right. I think that's it. Like, you just have to have that guy be on.
And who guards Westbrook in this series?
Honestly, I don't think anybody can.
I don't think so.
I think you kind of just have to, like...
You put Clay on him?
You have to just concede that... Or, you can try to keep the ball in Westbrook's hand. Good luck with that. But...
If you put Clay on him, you're risking foul trouble for Clay.
Yep.
And you're putting a lot of miles on him.
Oh, yeah, he's going to run him.
I mean, fourth quarter, maybe you do it. Iguodala, I'm guessing, would guard Durant.
Yeah.
Curry, you're going to hide on Robertson and Deion Waiters, whoever else. But Clay, I mean, that's... What do you think, Tate?
Clay's going to guard him, but Curry's going to guard him some too.
Westbrook?
Curry doesn't like
Tate
that.
thinks...
See, I think Westbrook, Curry, I think Westbrook's going to take that so personally.
I think so is Curry.
He's going to, like...
Yeah.
But I think Westbrook even more, because I feel like Curry's smart enough to recognize, like...
Limitations.
Like the limitations, and like I'm also part of a team. Whereas Westbrook is just like, what? Like fuck. Like okay, let's like he knows like everyone's watching. He knows all the shit people said about him. Like he's got that huge chip on his shoulder, and it's like this is the dude. This is the unanimous MVP. All right, let me show you how much of an MVP you are. And that
don't you feel like I think a lot of guys in the league feel that way. I think Chris Paul. Every time I've been to a Quip Warriors game, I feel like Chris Paul's like, fuck this guy. I'm better than this guy.
Yeah,
I can't believe everybody thinks this guy's the best guy. I know I'm better than this guy. And then like LeBron, all the grenades, he's kind of now he's like taking shots at Steve Kerr. Like you can tell the Kerr thing drives him crazy. He's like, I'm better than this guy. I'm the best guy in the league.
That's the crazy part is like the MVP award is so like misgiven, especially when I feel like people forgotten what MVP means. Like it's not your favorite player. It's not the best player. It's the best player.
Wait, you wouldn't have voted for Curry?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
LeBron's the most valuable player.
They won 73 games.
Yeah, but okay,
Stop it.
Take LeBron away from Cleveland, take Steph away from the Warriors, and which team does worse? That Cleveland team is shit without LeBron.
Well, without LeBron, Kyrie is just jacking it.
Like they don't. If you take Steph away from the Warriors, they still win 70 games.
This is one of my... No way. Stop it.
You don't think so?
No. I think they're like a 50-win team without him.
So, but
they're
even,
minus 23.
Even giving them 50, you think if you take LeBron away from Cleveland, they're as good as they were this season?
Well, so this is one of my favorite ways to figure out the MVP. You replace the player with an average player at his position, right? So replace Steph Curry with Jared Jack. How many games did the Warriors win? I would say like 51.
50, yeah.
Replace LeBron James with Marvin Williams. How many games does Cleveland win? I think they won like 58.
Really? 58?
No, I think they won 58. I think that's... They won 58 games this year. So if you replace Marvin Williams for LeBron... I still think they're a 500 team. They have a lot of talent. They have Kevin Love and Kyrie and Tristan Thompson. They're the highest payroll in the league.
But I feel like LeBron, in the same way Steph Curry brings something to the Warriors team that they don't have when he's gone, because the Cavaliers team, I don't think is as good as the Warriors team. I think if you take someone like him...
definitely the coaches weren't as good.
Yeah. I think if you take him out of that equation... the mentality changes, the way, like, they don't have that leadership that LeBron has. Like, they don't have all the intangibles, not to mention him being the best player. Like, I think if you lose that, I feel like by a margin, whether it's small or not, he is more valuable to that team than Steph is to the Warriors. Because the Warriors are a system team, too. Like,
the Warriors won 25 straight to start the year, 73 for the season. My whole thing when I did the awards bout, I just rewarded Warriors left and right. I put Clay in the second team. I had six man, I had Iggy first and Livingston third. I just anywhere I could reward that season, I did, because it was like that's never happened before.
So if you owned the Warriors and the Cavaliers, and they said you had to spend your season minus LeBron or Steph, you'd rather lose Steph.
I'm confused.
Did I say that right? Or you rather lose LeBron? You think Steph's
I'd
more
much rather
valuable?
lose LeBron. Yeah, because I could have revolved the team around Kyrie and Love.
But do you think
and
that
those
works
guys.
though?
No, and you're a 500 team at that point.
But then you don't exactly. So you're not where you are now.
Right.
You don't get here without LeBron.
I
think the Warriors have a better chance of getting where they are without Steph than the Cavaliers have of being in the finals minus LeBron.
I voted LeBron third.
Who was second? Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard, yeah.
You know why I did LeBron third? Because the weird subtweet stuff. Like, to me, it's like most valuable also means, like, are you a good teammate?
Yeah.
And I thought LeBron was a shitty teammate this season. It's like, why are you taking, when your team is in a little bit of turmoil, why are you taking Instagram pictures with you and Dwayne Wade working out in Miami? What does that mean? You're a free agent at the end of the year. Why do you want your guys to even wonder what that means?
I think LeBron treats his team like they're his girlfriend. So like you do things.
The girlfriend that he's not going to marry?
Yeah, like you do things like think about what people do in relationships. So like you get into a fight with your girl and then like you go out to like a club or you like post an Instagram picture of you out with some girl at like a club or a bar or some like friend of yours she kind of doesn't like, just to like rile her up a little bit to get her like blood pumping. Like he does things to his teammates that you would do in a relationship, and not even like, and it's clearly not a good relationship.
I see your analogy, but if I had ever done that to my wife, I would have gone to bed that night. She would have waited a half hour, and then she would have put a pillow over my head and murdered me, and I would be dead.
But that's the difference between your wife and your girlfriend. Yeah. Like when it's a girlfriend, it's different.
When she was my girlfriend, it would have been the same thing. She just would have poured gasoline on the bed and set it on fire. So I never really had the opportunity to do stuff like that.
Yeah, like subtweeting and like it's about you. So then you have to like have the conversation, or you just like you respond differently. Like it's like these weird things you do, these passive aggressive things people do to try to get a response out of somebody.
All right, make a prediction.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, you want to take OKC? I could feel it. You do.
I'm gonna go Cavs. I'm gonna go Cavs Warriors rematch.
Me too.
In 7.
I have Warriors over Cavs. I think the OKC thing.
I'm gonna go Cavs Warriors rematch. I think Warriors Thunder goes to 7.
Me too. I think it goes 7. I think who wants it to go to 7? The NBA.
The NBA, of course.
Yeah, and the officiating will be structured very carefully to always give people. Yeah. Thanks to Blue Apron. Stop ordering expensive takeout for less than $10 per meal. Blue Apron will deliver you all the fresh ingredients you need for a delicious and healthy home-cooked meal. Right now, you can get your first 2 meals for free by going to blueapron.com/BS. Thanks again to 5-4 Club. It's a $60 a month high-end clothing membership that will provide you with stylish clothes that are bound to make you stand out in the crowd. Go to 54club.com. Use promo code BS at sign up for 50% off your first package. That is $120 worth of clothing for $30 for your first month's package. Don't forget about the Ringer Podcast Network, Keeping It 1600, The Watch, Ringer NBA Show, Ringer NFL Show, all new feeds you should subscribe to. Don't forget about Any Given Wednesday, June 22nd on HBO. And Travon, we didn't talk about Hamilton this time.
Oh, yeah, man.
We'll save it. I still haven't gone.
Yeah, you got to go, man. You got a month and a half.
You preach to the Church of Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. I am the pastor, the most evangelical Hamilton fan you'll ever meet outside of their family members, probably. But
and you're doing a Hamilton podcast.
I am. It's
Is it up? It's not up yet, though.
We just recorded episode 7. We're going to get a good backlog. It's hard to book people because they're all so busy. But I think we're going to start releasing the end of this month, or like first week of June, I think.
And what's the title of the podcast?
It's called The Rumor It's Happening.
Okay. And is my son going to be a guest at some point or no? Maybe like a 10-minute guest?
We actually want to have, they're doing EduHam where they're like letting shows, there's shows that are all just kids. And so we want to actually talk to the kids about the show. So.
He'll come on and do one of his raps.
Yeah, I'd like.
I mean, he speaks French. He's learned how to speak French from Hamilton.
Tell him to bring it on, man. He'll be a star.
Are you sure he can wear a colonial soldier outfit to the Hamilton show?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of pictures of like kids wearing their costumes. Like they love it.
Okay, good. Because I can never tell if my son is a complete psychopath or not. So I always take comfort in the behavior of other children.
It'd probably be the most adorable thing at the show.
All right. My son loves Hamilton, hockey, and wrestling.
Oh,
I don't know what all that means.
All I'm missing is like
that those three things together.
I hit 2 or 3 out of 4 of them.
You hit 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
And he knows so little about baseball that he wasn't offended by your Yankee Stadium thing on your desk.
Yeah.
Travon Free, you can check him out on Twitter. It's
Travon.
At Travon. And are you going to do stand-up when you're in LA?
I am. I'm still trying to get settled before I jump back on the stand-up stage so I can get my life scheduled and settled and get into a flow.
We're going to do a big ringer show this summer where we're going to do like 2 live podcasts. You're going to do some stand-up.
Yeah.
Brendan Lynch is going to do stand-up. We're going to do try to cross all of the beams in the ringer
and do the
Any Given
Wednesday stand-up tour.
Yeah. We're gonna do. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up. I am super excited, and it's been great to start working with you, get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, this has been so much fun.
This is fun. All right, thank you for that, and everybody enjoy the weekend.
Anytime y'all want to see me again, rewind this track right here, close your eyes, and picture me rolling.